he did something that was significant. And
All right, baby, I'm back.
You know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century.
I'm finally back, guys. I took like a week off.
This decade that done any troops.
What is this, overlay?
In the world
no.
Like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up.
Man, his eyes are just absolutely.
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest rate in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. Now, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump.
Right. It's one of them. I mean, there's a lot.
New debt. Well, so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt,
I'm running for president.
And corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now.
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax. And companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before. And we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet.
Wow, this connection
the oil and gas right under
Hold
our
up. Sometimes refresh it on this YouTube live. Sorry about the ads. I got to get premium. I had it.
We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of
Biden
it.
Is
something
just
which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people
look at that. They all got matching pins.
The vaccine, and he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weapons.
Oh, man, this connection is so glitchy. I feel like they're doing this on purpose. And no one will ever see the real version. Dude, the sound went out.
All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country.
This shit is so funny.
To ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions.
Biden looks like he's going to fall over
and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national
God, his
debt.
eyes are
He had
sick.
the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example,
good Lord, guys.
We have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America.
What is going on?
They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers.
Watch
They've raised
everything be
$500
glitchy
million,
when Trump talks.
$1 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period.
Perfect way to hijack his shit.
Debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things
You know?
we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with
and what?
everything we have to do with.
Here we go. Look, Trump's been waiting for this.
If
Woo!
we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Yes, Trump is
Well,
like.
he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in.
gonna get
They're
brutal.
putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to
This is
put them
gonna
on
get
Social
brutal.
Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way
he already
finished
looks
that
defeated.
sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid
Who's
people.
everyone voting for?
What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Tana?
Yeah, I mean,
This is the first presidential election
Biden is an
since
absolute
the
puppet.
Supreme Court
I mean-
overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case,
This shit's ridiculous.
temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to
nice
the states.
outfit, all white.
However,
Gotta love
the
that.
federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in
Oh, and they have the
about
woman ask
two-thirds
this.
of all
You see that?
abortions. As president,
Right.
would you block
Can't have a man ask a
abortion
question like
medication?
this.
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody
vibing.
wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. Everybody wanted it
His,
back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I
His
put
tone
three great
changed.
Supreme Court justices on the court.
deeper.
And they
It's a
happened
little
to
more
vote
serious.
in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it
Dude,
brought back to the
Biden-
states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look
He's
at Ohio, it was a
malfunctioning.
decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a
Right.
person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem
well,
they
you got
have is
to.
they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this.
You gotta get
He said,
underneath
"We'll
his
put the
skin a little
baby
bit."
aside, and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby.
It's hard to break him because he's already
What happened is we
broken.
brought it back to the
You know?
states, and the country is now coming together on
He's
this
just
issue. It's
like
been
a
great
computer
thing.
talking.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it. It's
Oh,
just
God.
ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states
Two
are able to
rich
do
old
this is a
men.
little like saying we're going to turn civil
Talking about
back to
women's
the
rights.
states. Let each state
Old
have a
white
different
men.
rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in. They talk about that.
All right,
Here's the
come
deal.
on, bud.
There's a lot of young women are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered
cut his ass off.
by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. Consider the most dangerous
Biden's
place
getting in his
anywhere in the
feels.
world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted it brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states.
Gotta have the woman ask it.
This is a
proper
same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a
God,
pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion.
Horrific to look at.
Do you support any
like him
legal
or not,
limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate
rough
a
to look
pregnancy?
at.
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be done.
A doctor?
That's what you're going to do.
I think the woman
and
should.
if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide.
Wait, I thought they had a minute.
That's not the circumstance.
What the fuck's going
When a
on?
woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have
Period.
late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court.
I thought they had a
takes
minute.
credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security.
They cut
President
him off.
Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch.
Who do you think these guys are
Overwhelming
voting for?
border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety.
I bet
and
the guys
security
voting for
concerns.
Trump and
Given
chicks
that,
voting for
why
Biden.
should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now.
Yeah, the cages is a rough allegation, man.
40% fewer
It's hard to get away
people
from that
coming across
shit.
the border illegally. That's better than when he left office.
That's a tough
And
one.
I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country.
Look at him, dude.
The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he
Fucking
had to do was
ghost.
leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed 3 American soldiers. Killed 3 American soldiers.
What?
That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
He's got a nice
Just
tie.
1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world.
Damn.
That had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one
Biden
who
is
killed
ugly
people
as
with the
hell.
bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York,
You
in
ain't lying.
California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen.
Trump
we call
is
it
looking
migrant
sharp.
crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother. And
Biden's soul
he just
is
had
gone.
the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's
Freaky.
taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all, and he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things
I actually
that I
believe
approved,
that.
choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in.
President
And it's
Biden.
a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one.
I don't think
For
so.
example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And he opposed, his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery
Okay.
he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, And he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taking better care of our soldiers.
You're going to put Biden in fucking cardiac arrest.
In front of generals and others say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up. Just like the 51 intelligence
Biden is having cardiac arrest.
Just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said
rough to watch.
The laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's
the most grit I've ever seen Biden have, though. He's actually popping off.
In our history.
All right. Thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin.
What the fuck is going on
he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in.
He's fucking deranged.
I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw
fucking
the
damn
incompetence,
deranged,
he should have fired those generals like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take my, this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine, never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing.
Trump did say some fucked up shit during his
number two
term.
We got over
there's no doubt about that.
And others out.
He said he's not a perfect angel as he acts.
During that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want, and that's exactly what Trump did. to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I
if
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
Acceptable. No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened.
Dude,
I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war
Can I go live on
He's
Instagram here?
thousands and thousands of people.
Let's
and
see.
he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants.
This is true.
Do you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, by the way, all that money we give Ukraine from weapons we make here in the United States, we give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies.
I can live stream on Instagram on here. Hold up.
Funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought
surprisingly,
to still be
Biden
alive
is
are
cooking
5
on here. I'm not gonna lie.
Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas?
Let's see if it'll go live on fucking
war?
here.
You have 2 minutes.
Number one.
That would be fucking awesome if I could live stream on Instagram.
Security Council.
I don't think I've ever gone live on Instagram,
the
actually.
Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages
Oh, come on.
for a ceasefire. Second
about to
phase
go
is a
live.
ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one, they're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the
Let's see if it does it.
What's happened in Israel? We're finding the
Oh,
only
shit.
thing I've
It's
denied
working.
Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way,
Yes, it
I'm the
fucking
guy
worked.
that organized the world against Iran.
Yo,
when they
what up?
Had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack.
Yo,
on
what's
Israel.
going on?
No one was hurt.
I figured out how to go
one
live
Israeli
on
was
fucking
accidentally killed,
YouTube, on Kick,
and
on Instagram
it
right now.
stopped. We saved
So here we
Israel.
are.
We are the biggest producer of
Watching
support
some
for
boring
Israel
ass
of
shit right
anyone
now.
in the
2
world.
old geezers
And
going
so
at it.
They're 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence
trying to see
people
if the damn
to how
chat-
they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't
What's
have
goody?
to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas. Greatly weakened, and they should.
Oh,
be.
no shit?
They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for.
What about,
using certain
you ever play
weapons
Fortnite?
among population centers?
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together
I just bought a controller to play Fortnite.
$100 billion or maybe more
On,
than that,
my
less
Mac.
than us. Why doesn't he call them? So you got to put up your
Thank
money
you.
like I did with
I
NATO.
never
got
played
them to put
Minecraft.
up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of
At
NATO
all.
said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100%
It's actually
of the money
amazing.
was paid by us.
I can live stream on
didn't do that.
Instagram through here
He's
from my
getting all-
fucking
you gotta ask these
desktop,
people to put up
guys.
the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them.
Yo, we got to run
because of
duos on
location,
Fortnite
because
sometime.
We have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness.
Hit
This
me
is a
up.
guy
Let's
who
run
wants to
duos.
Get out of NATO. You're going to stay in NATO?
I play every
He's gonna
single
pull out of
fucking
NATO.
day.
The idea that we have our strength lies in our
I never
alliances
really
as well.
played video games that much,
Maybe
but
a big ocean, but we've ever been able to
I'm
avoid
here
a
now.
war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into
yeah, I
NATO?
just figured out how to hook it up to
Attack on
Instagram.
ones,
So
attack on
I'm
all.
streaming
You
on
wanna start the nuclear
Kick,
war he keeps talking about, go
YouTube,
ahead. Let Putin go in
Facebook,
and control Ukraine,
Instagram,
and then move on
and
to Poland and
I'm
other
going to
places.
set up Twitch
It's just-
here
it
in a
happens
minute.
then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way,
So
I
I'm
got
just gonna
50
try to
other
hit
nations
every
around
fucking
the world
platform at
to
the same
support
time.
Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this.
I think this is
this
good.
kind of dislocation.
I'll
is
be
a
honest, I
serious
think this
threat
is
for
the
whole world
last
peace. No major war
election
in Europe
with
has ever been able
white
to
rich
contain
men.
just in
I
Europe.
think after this, it's going to
President
go
Trump, just to follow up, would you
fucking
support
weird.
the creation of an
We're gonna be
independent
voting for
Palestinian
robots
state
and
in
shit.
order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have
It's gonna be the last
is that
4
we
years
spend
of this
all the
shit.
money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because
Both
if
of
you
these
add them
guys
up,
sound
they're
like they're
about the same
bullshitting
size
out of their ass.
economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States, and they were no cars, no.
I will
they don't
say
want anything
Biden
that
sounds
we
like
have,
he's
but
actually
we're supposed
cooking
to
more
take
than I
their
thought.
cars,
You know,
their
like
food, their
all the
everything,
clips you see,
their
you don't
agriculture.
know shit. But
I changed that.
he actually is
But
cooking
the
on
big thing
here.
I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can
I'm
play
scared too.
games with NATO
That's why I'm
is
just
because I
chilling
got
out
them
on
to put up
YouTube
hundreds
instead
of
of
billions of dollars.
out in
I
the
said-
street.
And he's right about this. I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay.
It's
They
funny
asked
as
me that
shit.
question. Would you guard us against Russia?
Yeah,
At a
it's
very
wacky
secret
out
meeting
there.
Of the
Yo.
28 states at that time, nations at that time. And
No
they said,
doubt
no,
about
if you
that.
don't pay, I won't do that. And you know
It'll
what
it'll all
happened?
be okay though.
Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's
Thank you.
bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about
Yeah, this
January
should be
6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, some
at
of them
home in a
stormed the
rocking
Capitol
chair,
to stop the
just
constitutionally
relaxing.
mandated counting of electoral
But
votes.
they're
As
so
president,
power
you
hungry,
swore an
they
oath
have to be-
quote, preserve, protect, and defend.
They've never
unquote,
found, like,
the
any
Constitution.
peace
What do you say to voters
in their
who
life,
believe
so
that
they're
you
just out in
violated that
society
oath
fucking
through your
causing mass
actions
chaos?
and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th.
They're just
On
still trying to
January
get a piece
6th,
of that pie,
We had a great
which
border. Nobody coming through. Very
it
few.
just doesn't exist.
On January
you know?
6th, we were energy independent.
It's an illusion.
On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On
a fucking
January 6th,
illusion.
we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected.
I just hope
and
we're
then
all
he
safe.
comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like
And
a
we
bunch
can
of
all just
stupid
chill
people.
out and
What happened to the United States'
do
reputation
what we do.
under this man's
Play
leadership
Minecraft.
is
Go
horrible,
live, play
including
music.
weaponization,
Just
which I'm sure
let's
at some
keep it
point you'll
chill.
be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't
It's
beat
true.
him fair and
They
square.
did grow up in a different
You
era
have 80
where
seconds left. My
they're
question
still on
was,
this
what do
like
you say to
hyper
those voters who believe that you violated
masculine
your constitutional oath for
drive,
your actions
just
and
power
inaction on January
hungry
6,
for
2021,
fucking
and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say
absolute
that to
fucking
anybody.
dominance,
I said
which
peacefully
is-
and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just
Can be
watched
fucking
the
dangerous.
news from 2 days ago, on tape to
it's
her
not
daughter,
leveled
who's a
out with something.
documentary filmmaker, they say. But she's saying, "Oh no, it's my responsibility.
You know,
I
it
was
gets really
responsible for this."
scary.
Because I offered her
But
10,000
it's going to be okay.
soldiers or National
I'm running
Guard,
for president.
and she turned them down. And the mayor of, in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down. The mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see I had.
I actually
virtually nothing to
just
do. They
turned the
asked me to go
age
make
to
a
run
speech.
president,
I
so
could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to
So I'm
going
gonna
to
be running for president,
And I said, you know what? There's a lot of
in
people coming. You could feel it.
2028.
You could feel it
I'm gonna
too,
start
and
my
you could feel
campaign
it.
now. That's
And
actually
I
what I'm
said,
doing.
They ought to have some National Guard or
So
whatever.
I hope you vote for me.
And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know.
I just want to see people smile.
Because it made her into a liar. She said,
And I'm going to do my
full
best.
responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Thank you.
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up in the Capitol.
Have fun. Hit me up if you
I sat in the dining room off the Oval
want to do
Office. I
duos
sat there
on
for 3
Fortnite.
hours. 3 hours watching.
Have a good night.
Being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a
Yep,
stop.
so 2028, I'm running.
Instead,
I
he
got to
talked-
start
they
now,
talked
though.
about these people being patriots and great patrons of America.
Oh,
In
which
fact,
motto?
he
I
says
just wanna
they'll
see you
forgive them
smile.
for what they've done.
And I'm gonna do
They've
my
been
best.
Convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that,
You know?
no. But he went
I'm
to
gonna-
every single court in the nation.
Good night.
I don't know how many cases.
I'll see you later.
Scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said no.
So, guys,
This
I'm
guy-
actually,
this guy is responsible for
for
doing
the
what
other
is being-
platforms,
what he's done. He did do a
I'm like
damn
live
thing,
on
and
like
these people
5
should be in
different
jail,
channels right
and they
now.
should be the ones who are being
I'm
held
on
accountable.
Instagram,
And he wants to
YouTube,
let
Kick,
them all out, and now he says that he loses again, such a
Facebook,
whiner that he is,
Twitch.
that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden.
Appreciate
President
it.
Trump?
Yes, I am. Yes, I will.
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people when they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down
Let's see.
many
I
other
wish the-
cities. You
the
go to
fucking,
Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all
The
over the city.
Instagram
If I didn't
chat-
bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed.
I wish the Instagram
And you
chat
look
would
at
show
all
up
of
on
the-
here, but it's not.
They took over big
kinda
chunks
weird.
of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that. They saw them coming. And
Yo,
they left
what's up, Osama?
immediately. What he said about this whole subject
How's it going,
is
dude?
so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing.
I'm just here watching the debate, man. Two old men go at it.
basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone.
I haven't
now
been
out of
live in
office,
like a week. I had
and
to take a
Democrats,
break.
All Democrats. They destroyed and deleted all of the
Yes, Trump is
information
a
they
better
found because
talker.
They found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the
Well,
information. They should go to jail for that.
Someone
If a
just said
Republican did
Osama.
that,
I'm
they'd go to
actually
jail.
President
talking to
Trump,
my
President Biden, I wanna
homie,
give you a
actually,
minute.
The only person in
Osama.
this stage is a convicted
Where are you
felon
again?
is the man
Did you
I'm
say
looking
you're
at
from
right now.
Pakistan or?
And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
Capitol Hill, and all those
Pumping that
every
iron.
one of those who were convicted, turned over desks, turned them over statues. The idea that those people
Oh
are
yeah.
patriots.
I'm doing good, man.
Come on.
I just
When
got
asked him
a
the first two debates we had.
got a
the
dog
debates we had
today.
First time around.
a massive
I said,
Great
"Will you
Dane.
Denounce the Proud Boys. He said, "No, I'll tell them to stand by." The idea
doesn't
he's
even fit on this
refusing
big couch
will we
behind me.
Denounce these guys. We denounce.
I
the
was
people we're
hoping that
talking about now?
She
We
would,
denounce the
but
people who
I don't
attacked
know.
that Capitol.
You know,
What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question.
I don't know. They're-
After a jury convicted you of 34
it feels like
felonies last
Biden's
month,
just
you
reading
said if
off scripts.
reelected,
He's
you would,
actually
quote,
doing a little better
have
than I
every right
thought.
to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about
Trump's cooking
members
as
of the Select
always.
Committee on January 6th going
So-
to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on
My
stage with
dog
you
actually
tonight.
had a
Can you
name.
clarify exactly
I
what it
named-
means
or
about you
it's
feeling you have every right to
Medusa.
go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution.
she's
is going to be
massive, bro. I'll
successful
send
to
you a
make this
picture.
country successful again,
Or if
'cause
you
right
look
now
at my
it's a failing
story
nation.
on Instagram,
my
you can see.
retribution is going to be success.
Yes, Biden
But when he talks about
looks
a
like a
convicted
fucking
felon,
corpse,
his son
for
is
sure.
a convicted felon at a very high level.
crazy.
His son is convicted.
I
gonna be
mean,
convicted
like him or
probably
not, you
numerous
can't
other
deny
times.
that he
Should
looks
have been
like
convicted
fucking
before, but his
frozen in
Justice
time.
Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon
crazy.
as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the
Yes, he
things that
completely
he's done.
looks like a
He's done
damn
horrible
corpse. It's
things.
insane.
All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that
I
we're going to
don't
want
know,
$1 billion
man.
or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I had
Reanimated?
said that,
Well, did you see
that's
the
quid
thing
pro
about
quo.
him? Them
we're not going to
saying
do anything. We're not going to.
Someone's wearing a
unless
Biden
you
mask?
change your prosecutor having to do with his son.
it's pretty. And
This
then
man is a criminal.
you look at the
This
pictures;
man-
it
you're
looks
lucky.
really like
You're
he's wearing
lucky.
a mask.
I did nothing wrong.
Or
We
some
have
guy's
a
wearing one of
system
those
that was
masks.
rigged and
Remember when you
disgusting. I
sent
did
me
nothing
that
wrong.
mask?
Thank you, President Trump.
Yes.
President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right
It's
to
that
you, sir.
shit right there.
Well, you want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
So who's everyone
The idea-
voting for? So
But I
if
think
you guys
anything
don't know,
wrong
I'm on
relative
like
to what you're
5
talking
different
about is
fucking
outrageous.
platforms.
It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution.
So there's
against
different
any
chats
American
going on. I wish
just
I had
because you're
them all
president
combined,
is
but
wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that
I don't know
before.
what's going on.
No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have.
Oh, you're
How
voting
many
for Trump?
billions
Okay.
of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public?
I feel
for
that.
doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant. I mean,
This is
what were we
legitimately the
talking
first time I hit
you
live
live
on
the morals of an
Instagram.
alley cat.
Do your minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star. Number one.
Here we go.
Number two,
Yes,
that was
let's
a case
go.
that was started.
You had to bring up this. Now we're getting into the real drama.
A DOJ into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case.
Bite 'em.
That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found
Hell
out
yeah.
about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases,
You
know
said
they
what?
did?
Who
My
cares
phone
who
numbers went up
people
way
fuck?
up. You know that because you're reporting it.
Yeah,
and we took in more money in the last
it's not
2
about
weeks
that. It's
than
that
we've ever taken in
they're
the
saying that
history
he
of
gave
any campaign. I don't think
her
any
hush
campaign
money.
has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in.
That's
because
why
the
he got,
public
like,
knows it's a scam, and it's a
32
guy that's
fucking
after
felonies or
his political
something.
opponent because he can't win fair
So
and
they're going to
square.
send him to
Thank
jail.
you, President Trump. President
But
Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and
There's
his
no way
MAGA
he's going to jail.
Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe
And it's
that
funny,
the
that's
tens
the
of millions
worst
of
thing they could
Americans
catch
who are
him
likely
on?
to vote for President Trump will
Hush
be
money
voting
to a porn
against
star?
American democracy?
The more they know about what he's
he
done,
must
yes.
he must not be that bad of
The
a
more
guy.
they know about what he's done.
I've done worse than
There's a
that.
lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any presidents say that they thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run
Mumble
again
jumble.
until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas
Well,
on torches.
there's still
torches,
old white
and-
men
and
that
seeing
haven't
the same
found peace in
anti-Semitic
their life,
bile
and that's why
they
they're still
sang
trying to like
back in
gain
Germany.
power and
And
dominance in
And the
society.
young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and she.
No,
they
he
asked
can't
him,
even
they said,
breathe. It's ridiculous.
What do you
But
think of those people? The people who
Can
the
he
ones
even
who got
bre-
killed, the one who tried to stop him.
No,
and
he's
the
a
one who
mouth
said,
breather.
I think they're fine people on both sides. What
he hasn't learned how to
American
breathe out of
president
his nose yet.
would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas, were fine people. And this is a guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's
thought
done, that's what
Kanye
he
said that.
This guy has no sense of American democracy.
He is dying.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last
Wait, let me
chance.
see if I can get a better.
He's not equipped to be president.
Setup
You know
that
it,
goes
and I
with
know it. It's
Instagram.
ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify
Doesn't
his
look like it.
presidency.
Wait.
His presidency,
Wait.
he's without question the worst
Nah, I
president,
can't.
the
I
worst
gotta wait.
presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having
I would
a
have to
debate
shut it
about
off.
it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every anchor has, every reasonable anchor has debunked it.
Biden
And
is-
just
yeah,
the other
he's-
day it
hasn't
came
been
out where
outside.
it was
Well,
fully debunked.
you're looking
It's
at
a
Trump. He's a
nonsense
little,
story. He
uh,
knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville.
He looks
used
like
that
he's
as
got
an
a spray
excuse to
tan.
run.
I can't
President
talk
Biden.
all good
Debunked.
things
It
about
happened. All you
one
have to do is
person.
listen to what was said at the
know.
time. And the idea
They're both
that
fucked up in the
somehow
head.
that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those in the
Casper,
woods,
yeah.
carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people
Oh,
breaking
did
through
we?
windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president.
They're so damn
Look, there's
immature.
A reason why
All of them.
40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time.
Fuck, I
So
can't
why?
get. The problem is I
Why?
can't
They
get
know
live
him
on
well.
my phone.
They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the
Because
CNN presidential debate.
they're immature babies. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I can finish the. This actually, it's about to get juicy though. The truth. It's about to actually get juicy. That's what's gonna happen. The second half is about to go fucking absolutely wild. Yeah, it's hard to vote for either of these fucking buttheads. I'm trying to not to cuss on the lives anymore, but yeah, fart heads. I'm gonna start saying fart heads instead of fuckhead. But if it was an old fart contest, yeah. Who could fart the hardest? Trump could probably fart the hardest. I could see that. You know, I think Biden, he's probably wearing a diaper on stage. Who knows? Trump might be too. You just don't know. I want to see who's wearing a diaper out of the two. That's all I care about. I want to see who can win in a foot race. I want to see them box. I will say, in the beginning, Biden came out fucking surprisingly hot, but he lost like momentum on the third round and started just falling all over his words and shit. And Trump was just, dude, it's actually, they're in their corners right now, like getting watered up. They got like a cold pack on their head. The whole thing's funny as hell. So we're just going to wait here, guys, until the next thing pops up. But this is actually my first time hitting live on Instagram. I'm so fucking pumped. I didn't think I could go live on here. How freaking groovy. It's got a super delay. It's got like a 20-second delay on Instagram, though, which is kind of ridiculous. Are they going to scissor a scissor contest? Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm good on that. They need to have a race into the fucking nursing home. But my plan right now is... Actually, the funny thing is, surprising enough, I had a meeting with the mayor last week. Finally broke the fucking doors off the fucking government office. And sat down with those guys. And talk about a talker, man. I charmed the pants out of everyone. They didn't even know why I was there. They just were so happy that I was complimenting the fuck out of everyone, and they never got, for old men in the government office, they never got as many compliments as I gave them. They were just shaking my hand left and right, and by the time I left the mayor's office, they were just praising me, and which is cool. Yo, what up, Aiden?
Let's talk about
yeah, I'm actually trying to go live on every platform. I figured out how to go live on Instagram as well.
President Biden,
here, let's see what's going on here. We're back on this fucking wonky presidential debate. Old ass mofos.
Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and Black
Here's some
Americans
damn drama.
are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you
Come
say to
on,
Black
where's the
voters
drama?
who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress.
Let's hear it.
The fact of the matter is, there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number 2.
How do they know these
the wages
facts,
of
man?
Black
How do they know these
lowest levels
statistics?
in a long, long time. Number 3, we're providing housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among
Okay.
these corporate these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice
Holy
that
shit.
black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult.
Is that
We did
racist?
the first major piece of legislation in the past. I was able to reduce black
I'm
child
just going to
care
make fun of
costs
both of these guys, really.
in half. We got to make sure we.
I don't even give a
child
shit.
care costs. We got to make sure because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job.
Hey, what's up, Janet?
So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far.
Right, yeah, they need to,
You have
yes.
49 seconds
Let's get to
left.
the real questions like that.
Black voters
Like,
who are
what
disappointed
kind of
with the
weed do you
progress
guys
so far.
smoke?
I say I don't blame.
That's a good question.
Inflation is still hurting them badly.
I want to know, like,
Example,
what they're
I can buy
into
from
personally. What kind of
idea
music? They need to have a
any
music
black
debate.
family, first-time home buyer should get a $10,000 tax credit.
I would love to
be
see
able to buy
an
their
arm
first
wrestle.
home.
I'm so tired of hearing
Get
people.
started.
You can
Make sure
bullshit
that
when you
there's
talk about
situation
stuff like this,
where
but
all those black
real
families and those
culture,
black individuals
like what's their
provide
favorite
benefits about
memes?
Student loans that were ballooning.
I wanna know
that
shit like that
aids
for
in
sure.
Nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism. If they paid
You said what? He's racist?
Their student debt,
The
all
fuck?
the rest is forgiven after
What does that
2
mean?
years. Millions have benefited from that, and we're going to do a whole lot more
Racist.
for black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation.
They smoke
Spread the
hay and
inflation,
snort crystal corn.
his
Yeah, I
records
don't know
go
what the
very bad.
fuck.
He caused the inflation.
Crystal
and it's
corn.
killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled.
Oh,
and
yeah?
quadrupled. They can't live. They're
I
not
I
living
feel
anymore.
like
He caused this inflation.
I feel
gave
like
him
Trump
a country
is
with
has an
no-
earpiece
essentially no
from like the
inflation. It
Nelk
was
boys are in
perfect.
his
It was
ear
so
right
good, all
now,
he had to do is leave
just
it
like
alone.
feeding
He
him
destroyed it with his media
just
scam,
quotes
all
and
of the
stuff.
all this money that's being
Keep
thrown out
hip.
the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people.
Yeah, I have
is
no
the
clue. I'm
millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're
Yo,
making
Cuck,
black
I'm
jobs
on
now, and it could be 18,
Kick right now,
it could
so
be 19, and
we
even
got people
20
talking
million
about
people.
random
They're
shit. I'm
taking
on like
black
3
jobs,
platforms I
and they're
think right
taking
now going
Hispanic
live.
jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but
I
you're gonna
wish
see
all the
something that's
chat
gonna be
combined,
the
but I don't know
worst
how to
in our
make it.
history.
Thank you, President Biden.
There was no inflation.
Yeah, crystal corn. I don't know what the
Because you know
fuck
why?
that is.
The economy was flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy. Absolutely decimated.
Wait,
the
I'm going
economy.
live on
That's why
Facebook
there was
too.
no
Hold on.
inflation at the time. There were no jobs. He provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who were
Let me
involved
figure
in
this shit out.
including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance.
Oh, there we go.
We have covered.
Booyah!
The ACA has increased and made sure that the $8,000 per person to a family.
Bro, I pay like 50
Different
bucks a month
laws
for
and
this
healthcare.
fucking live
Just
stream
got
program
lots
so
of
I can do all this
tried
shit.
50 times.
I never
They
could have
won't screw
imagined
the
that I would do
ACA
shit
again,
like this.
and they're going to try again if they win.
I should be hustling more, man. It's just
The idea that we're not doing any, I put more.
shit gets
put more
fucking damn
police on the street
exhausting.
Than any administration has.
Sometimes I just want to lay down and
We're providing
just
for
fucking
equity-
fade away.
equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on. But inflation, he caused it.
Yeah, I got
It's
to. I just
tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the
it would be ideal if I
Another
could be on here
persistent
every
challenge is the climate crisis.
every
2023 was the hottest year in
night,
recorded
and that's what
history.
I'm really trying to do.
Communities
It's just
the country are confronting
so
the devastating effects of extreme heat.
it's difficult to get a
intensifying wildfires,
consistency
stronger
sometimes when
hurricanes,
life
and
is just
rising
moving
sea
up and
levels.
down.
Former
But
President Trump, you've
hopefully not for
validated
long,
your
man. Hopefully it's a
opponent's
steady
climate
ride.
Initiatives, but will you take any action?
I just
as
got this
president
house a
to
couple
slow
months
the
ago, so I'm
climate
putting it all
crisis?
together.
Let me just go back to what he said about the police.
Thank you.
How close
I
the
fucking
police are.
appreciate that, man.
Almost every
That's
police
what I needed to hear, bro.
organization
Thank
from
you.
Every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great
I'm
offense
running
to it.
for
And when they
president
see it
after this,
happening,
2028.
when they
I'm
see
old
what
enough
the
now.
criminal
I just turned
justice
old enough.
reform and for the historically black,
So I'm starting right now.
colleges and universities
I literally
who
just
have
had a
funded
meeting
them
with the
and
mayor
got
of the
them all
town
funded,
last week.
and the
So I'm gonna start
opportunity
there.
zones with with Tim. As you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job.
Thanks, bro.
Great senator from
Appreciate
South
it.
Carolina. He came
I
forward
just
with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts.
appreciate
ever in
that,
the
man.
country.
Thanks for the
Opportunity zones.
thanks for the
And the biggest
positivity.
beneficiary are blacks.
Yes,
And
homeowner.
That's why we have the best.
Come
numbers
visit, man.
in
You're welcome anytime.
maybe ever. They're saying ever.
I'm like
where ever. The best
hour
numbers.
east of
He's
Chicago.
lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for
Super
Hispanics.
predators.
But when you see these millions of people pouring into our country and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet, it's a disaster.
You've 38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any
I'm going
action
to. I
as
swear to
president
God.
to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers.
Absolutely
ever.
immaculate clean
did.
air. I don't know if you can do that.
All forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that.
These guys are
statistic
both
just before I
stupid as
walked on
hell.
Stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I've passed the most
I just want to see him fight,
most
really.
extensive climate change legislation in history. In history. We find ourselves, and by the way,
Yes, Amanda, yes, I am.
I came up with $50 billion.
I've been watching it for an hour now.
Black universities and colleges.
I'm on
These are
5
the
different platforms
kind
watching
of
it right now.
Contributors that they have.
On every fucking goddamn
these
platform.
laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs.
It's pretty brutal.
We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done
Super
something
brutal.
that had the cleanest water,
Trump claimed
He did
that
the damn thing.
he just had immaculate
He
clean
was
air,
part of the Paris
perfectly
Peace
clean air.
Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity.
They're
is
both
climate change.
idiots,
If he
man.
didn't do a damn thing about it, he must undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion. And China,
No, they need to.
nothing,
Yeah, they
Russia,
need to
nothing,
actually have
India,
a.
nothing.
They need to do the
It was a
power
rip-off
slap
of The
thing
United States.
that they've been doing.
I
They just
ended
need to
it
take
because I didn't
slaps
wanna
at each
waste
other
that
at the
money
podium.
because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing
Or I
us
would like
money
to see
nobody
them like
else was
mud
paying for.
wrestle or something
And it
would
was
be
a-
dope.
It was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say
They're
before,
both
he said,
liars. I mean,
"I'm
they're
the
both.
one
They
that
just
got
lie
Afghanistan
differently.
down for the seniors.
Just
I
like
took
the
care of
water,
seniors.
just like
what he's doing is
everything.
destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in.
Well,
they want everybody.
it's hard-
And look, I have.
Yeah, we
I have the
do.
biggest heart on the
We
stage,
need
I guarantee you that.
a woman,
and I want to take care of
and,
people. But we're destroying our
if they-
country. They're taking over our
You-
schools.
you gotta
our
run.
hospitals, and they're going to be taking
Start
over
running.
Social Security. He is destroying Social Security.
Start now.
Medicare and Medicaid.
The tortilla slap. Yeah,
The idea is.
I would like to see them do the crate challenge.
We were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to? The United
So,
States
yeah,
can't get its
he's-
control.
Biden's
We're the largest
mustering
polluters
up
in the world,
shit
number
to
one.
sound
We're making
confident.
significant
Trump
progress.
is just
By
making shit up.
2025, we will have cut pollution in half.
I wanted to
We're
be
gonna
on
make
one of their
significant
sides, you know, but I just
progress.
can't.
And we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of
2025.
young people to learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea
There's still power,
that
like,
he claims that he has the biggest heart up here. And he's
they're
really
still
concerned
fucking
about-
power hungry, you know?
about pollution and about climate.
They're
I
just
don't
from a
see
different
any
era.
indication.
They need to fucking
And
relax.
By the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price
Oh
to
my
$35,
God.
which I was calling for. One.
I love how they
voluntarily.
won't.
I made sure every company in the world. Every
I love how they
pharmaceutical
decide
company
not to
knew
agree
how
with
to
each other at
by the way-
fucking all.
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many
Yeah,
older
they're-
Americans, Social
they don't even
Security
bark
provides a
well, you
critical
know?
Lifeline. President Biden,
They don't even
nothing
su-
is
they can't
done
even
to
bark
Social
well.
Security. Seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one
They,
specific
ca-
step
I
that
would
you're
like
willing
to
take
hear
keep
them
Social
compliment
Security
each other
solid?
for
Yes,
like one
thank you
good
very
thing or
much.
some
They
shit,
pay
you
their
know?
fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income of their paycheck every single
Shit's
time they get a
ridiculous.
paycheck from the time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody, they pay, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000 after that.
Trump's just getting irritated as hell.
Pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
I'm so
You still have only 2
stupid.
seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is just
Maybe they
that one
could.
enough?
Well,
They need to
that,
just.
that one enough will keep it solid.
Maybe they need to go out
Biggest
for a
thing will be
coffee.
if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social
That's what they need to do.
He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare, both times. And that's what. And if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that he, I believe, supports, is in fact want to cut it. As
Clean
well.
air blowing up
The
his.
idea that
Up
we
his
don't
what?
need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000
A circus
people-
stance.
Not
40
a
million
circumstance.
people
Would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition.
Yeah, they need to have one of the a
Have that
spaghetti
insurance.
dinner where they
Here's the fact
slurp a
that
fucking
they,
strand of
in fact, are
spaghetti
part
and
of the
kiss.
ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation where I talk about.
I would like to see that. Maybe they should
Canadians. I've
kiss,
raised
man.
the
LGBTQ
number,
it
the amount of
up.
money for Pell Grants, another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000.
Maybe they should just bang each other's wives.
He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Just mix
So
it
I've
up.
dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the
You know, they're
equation
probably
for
friends
last
behind the
8
scenes
years.
when you think about it.
I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen him. He can look you in the face. About so many other things.
They're so fucking
We
immature.
mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation.
Yeah, they should just shoot each other both in the head. Bang each other's lives. Yeah, they should just
It's a disgrace.
kick the
But
chair
Social
underneath
Security,
each other and hang
He's
themselves.
destroying it because millions of people
On
are
live,
pouring into our country.
on
and
CNN.
they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid.
I think
They're
they
putting them in
both
our
should go
hospitals. They're
to
taking the place of our
Ukraine and
citizens
fight.
there. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden.
Oh, there's a lot of anger when
not being taken care of. I told you
he
before.
was the president.
By the way, when I said suckers and losers, he said he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it. Number one.
Uh-oh.
Number two,
I love how
the idea
petty
that
and
we're in a
kindergarten this shit
situation
is.
where all these millions and millions.
It really
of people
is.
Talks about it. Illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy
insane.
in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by
Okay,
the way, those
stop.
15 Nobel laureates he talked about being funded,
They've just been talking about the
15 Nobel
problems.
laureates,
Talk
economists, they
about
all
some
said
what
that
good
if
shit you're
Trump
gonna
is
do.
reelected, we're likely to have
That's
a
all we want to
recession,
hear.
and inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care.
I'm actually surprised Biden has actually kept it up this long because, you know, most of the clips you see is just fucking worse than this. And Trump's just holding himself back from just saying super arrogant shit.
2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's
Damn.
why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it.
Just
and they're
offended the
very highly
fuck out of
respected,
Biden.
much
Look at
more
him.
so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't
You
fire
said
people.
what?
He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these
This
people.
is
I
true.
didn't
They
have
don't want to
Comey
fix
there.
it.
He
They
was
want
no good.
to
I
blame
fired him.
other people.
This guy
It's
hasn't fired
crazy.
anybody.
You know what?
He never fires.
I
He
would
should
vote
fire
for a
every
guy
military
that would
man
be
that
like,
was
you know
involved
what?
with
I
the
was
Afghan
wrong. I
the
did that wrong
Afghanistan,
thing.
Horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history
I
of our country.
apologize, but this is what we're gonna
Did you fire
do.
anybody?
You
Did
know,
fire
I'm not
anybody that's on the
perfect,
border that's allowed us to have
but-
the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing?
but they're just
18 million
talking about
people,
each other
many from prisons,
on all the bad things,
many
and
from-
that's like the
from
first
mental
fucking
institutions? Did you fire
thing you need to
anybody
fix
that
about
allowed our
yourself.
country to be destroyed?
It's to stop blaming
Joe,
other people.
Our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just
Look at
said
that.
about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's
Children.
destroyed our country.
Maybe they do need
Now,
to
all of a
fucking
sudden,
take some
he's trying
bong
to get a
rips
little
and
tough on the
reflect.
border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters.
Hazy hearted,
And
man.
I don't think
I gotta
we
stop
just can't
drinking
let it
fucking-
happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance.
At least I'm not
of coming out of this
fucking
world.
mega liquor
We
cocktails,
probably
right?
won't have a country left
Or
anymore.
would that be
That's how
better?
bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world.
Here we
The
go.
United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world, the finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one.
Hey, what's
wants
up,
to
Cody?
us. Nobody.
What's going on, man?
Number two, the idea that we're talking about
VGB,
worst
that's what's
president. I
up.
wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 and 58, don't have the exact number.
That's when you know people
Presidential
have known me
historians. They
for a
have
long
voted,
ass
they
time.
voted, who's the worst president in
When they call me
American history.
VGB.
One through best to worst. They said he was.
I'm
the
doing
worst
good.
in
Just
all
watching these
of
fucking old
American
farts
history.
battle
That's
it
a
out
fact. That's not a
to
that's not conjecture.
blame each other
The
who
judges are
stinks
wrong,
more.
but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care. He did
They're both
virtually
idiots,
nothing
really,
with
at the end of the
childcare.
day.
We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase.
Hell
the
yeah, man. I never go live on here. I
women
actually
and
figured
men
out how to
of single parents to be able to go back to work, and we should
go
encourage
live on here because I go live on
businesses
Kick.
to have
Thank you, President
child-
Biden.
But now I'm going live on
President, the
YouTube,
question was about
Facebook,
what would you do to make
Instagram,
child care
Kick,
more
and I got to
affordable? You wanna
add
take that
Twitch.
Just
And then I'm going to be
say-
hitting every single platform
We
at
have
the
polling,
same
we
time.
have other things that they
Took me a while to figure it out.
because what he's done is so bad.
Hell yeah. How are you
And they
doing?
rate me-
What's
I'll
up with
show
you?
I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever
Here we go.
created an economy like
a
us.
boxing
Nobody
match,
ever cut
verbal
taxes
boxing
like
match.
us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax.
Yeah, that
cuts
would
to
suck, though.
expire.
The inflation
So
is rough.
everybody, including
I'm not
the
gonna
two of
lie.
you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes.
Promote
When we cut
deflation.
taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all
Deflated
these companies,
balloons.
They were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history.
I
by
far,
far, and everybody knows it.
President
You
Biden.
in Mishawaka
Well, the
or
fact of the
South
matter
Bend or
is
what
that
still?
He's dead wrong about. He's increased the tariff. He will increase the taxes on middle class people. I said I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariffs.
Yeah, he
Everything
did.
coming in the country. You know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American.
Hell yeah, bro.
$500 a year.
Finally
more.
just got my live
Because of
set up here,
the
so I'm going to
difference
be
in
slapping bass from
food
home.
and all
on
the things that
live.
are important. Number two.
This
he's
is
in a
like
situation
literally my
where
first time
he talks
going
about how he
live
has
on Instagram
not
ever.
raised- He's somehow
Strangely
helped
enough.
Middle class. Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want.
So I appreciate you popping in, man. I'm gonna be trying to go live on Instagram more, a lot,
We have the largest deficit
since
of
I
any
figured it
country in
out.
American history. Number one. Number two. You have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you,
We're at the
President
highest.
Biden.
You lost
Thank you, President Biden.
Oh,
Let's
God.
discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you
Just
have
fuck
made a top
already,
priority
guys.
in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of
SB,
you,
baby.
the number
Yeah, I'm in
of
Mishawaka.
overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts of both
I
of
want
you
to see
have
them.
made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from
Appreciate
overdoses
it,
every year,
man.
primarily from fentanyl.
I'm trying to
and
look at your
opioids.
profile
What will you
picture
do
right now.
to
You
help
got kids or
Americans
what?
right now in the throes
Cody?
of addiction,
Let me
who are
see.
struggling
I
to get the
can't
treatment
look
they
at it.
need?
To finish up, We now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit.
I
with
just want the
China.
inflation to go away,
He gets
guys.
paid
Who
by
can do
China.
that?
He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because
I just
we
want
spend so
takeout
much
food to
money
go
with the
back to
tariffs that are
$8
imposed on
a
China.
meal.
He never took them away. He can't because it's too much.
That's all I
money.
want.
It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come. But he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't.
Send
because
another
it's too much
stimulus.
money.
Biden, did
But
you
he's
ever
got the
send
largest
stimulus?
deficit in the history of our
You
of our
bitch.
country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
Woo! Here we go. Personal
President
attack.
Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years.
Now
of,
people
like
are
nobody's
huffing
ever had
vaccines.
before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border were.
Yeah, Trump had a
it
fucked up time.
started
Let's
doing
be
things.
honest.
We
There was
got
a
great
vaccine.
equipment.
There was
We
the
bought
Black
the
Lives
super
Matters.
dog.
He
It's
was
the most
hit with
incredible
some crazy
thing that
shit.
you've ever seen, the way they can spot
But
it. We did
they're
a
both
lot,
idiots.
and we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low because
Dude,
the gotaways.
I bet
everybody
if
talk about
if
gotaways.
Biden hit everyone with a
The
stimulus
numbers
check
of the amount of
on the
drugs
end
and
of
human
summer,
trafficking in women
he might get voters.
across our border.
Let's just
The
empty
worst
the
thing I've
fucking
ever seen,
bank account,
at numbers that nobody's
print
ever
some
seen
money,
under him because the border's so
send
bad.
everyone $2,000
But
apiece.
The number of drugs coming across
You
the
know.
border now is the largest we've
Can
ever
we
had
do
by
that?
far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden.
That would be his
Fentanyl
best
and
attempt to get
high-priced fentanyl
voters.
went down for a while, and I wanted to make sure we use the machinery.
It would
to fix
stimulate the
fentanyl.
economy,
Big
and
machines that roll over
it would be
everything
like
comes across
a
and it costs a lot of money. That was
a
part of
voter
this deal.
appreciation
It's
for even getting him
bipartisan
into
deal.
office.
More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border.
Yeah.
And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues, said, "Don't do it. It's going to hurt me."
It's funny how much
We
Trump
never
is holding
argued.
back
It's
from
not a
just
good
trying
bill.
to like
It's a
clown
really
him.
good bill. We need those machines.
He's so
We need
uncomfortable
those
because he's
machines.
usually being the
We're coming
loudest
down very hard in
motherfucker.
every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl.
I get it.
And
I hate
Mexico
sitting
is
back and
working with us to
hearing
make sure
fucking
we
people
don't have
talk
the
dumb shit.
technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, because this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so
Yeah,
many
Trump
things
is
that we had
entertaining.
done,
I mean, he
hard
was
negotiations
in
with
Hollywood
Mexico, and
before
we
he
got all
was
for
running
nothing.
for president.
It's
So
just like
yeah,
when you have a hostage, we always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say it's a hostage.
the fucking
We
apprentice.
have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally
Before?
as soon
How
as
are you
I
gonna
win
do
the
that?
election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago. But Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where we paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be
Who do you think
86
she's voting for?
at the end of your second term. How do you address
Whoever will give her the
concerns
best job.
about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all,
He is
I
4 years older than
spent
Trump,
half
I
my
think.
career being criticized as being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs.
15 million new jobs.
Over
I love how they
billions-
take
billions of
credit
dollars
for
in
it.
private investment in enterprises that we are
Like they're
growing.
like, I
By
gave
the
you
way,
15
brought a lot
million
of
new
people.
jobs.
Well,
Not that
the whole idea of computer chips.
I,
which have 30%
you
of the
know,
market,
helped.
He invented those chips.
But
We
no,
lost
you
it
didn't give
because he
people
was sending
15 million new
people
jobs.
to find the cheapest jobs
Neither of you guys
overseas
did.
and then bring home a product. So I went to South Korea. I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And guess what? Those fabs, they call
What?
them, that to build these chips, those fabs pay over $100,000.
Those faps.
You don't need a college degree for them.
He
And
was
there's
fapping in
billions,
South Korea.
$40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea
All right.
that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single
It's
major
'cause
country president.
inflation, bro.
Replaces the United States of America. For all our problems and all our opportunities.
That's all it's about.
We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our allies and those who he cuddles up to.
Come on.
Kim Jong Un, he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't
Sends
want
love letters. This is getting
Thank you.
spicy. This is the
Former
type of shit I
President
want to
Trump,
hear.
To follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one.
I
go
think
through the
everyone
first 5
would.
questions, he couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year.
Oh, nice.
You know, we
Touch
knock
your
on wood
toes.
wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be
Look at Biden.
quite
He's
smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think
This
I'm in
is the
very good
shit
shape.
we
I
wanna
feel
see.
that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably
this
a
is
little bit
entertainment
lighter,
right here.
but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing
Hell
to take
yeah.
the cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy. when he
Fuck all
was
the
White House
presidential
doctor.
stuff.
And then I took another one, a similar one.
Pure
And
drama.
one of them said they've never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
This
You can
was a,
see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was,
oh my God, now it's about golf. I love this shit.
But by the way, I told you I'm happy to play golf with you if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
It was a 6 handicap of all.
We go the real shit.
8.
Old man shit.
But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
21
turn
Let's
rounds.
not act like children.
specific concern that voters have.
We need
about
more
you.
of that.
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest
Oh,
crowd
my
I've
God.
ever spoken to. And I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about
I don't give a fuck. I'm watching this whole thing.
Went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered
Even
in
if
by
I
the police.
start
And
to
as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her
fall ill and
responsibility, not
corpse
mine.
like
She said that
Biden.
loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something.
I think it's going on for
I wish he was a great president.
10 more minutes.
Because I wouldn't be here right now.
Actually.
I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent because he indicted me.
Yeah, bro, I
because was
remember
his
you.
opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here.
Thanks
And I
for
might
stopping
be
in.
here.
Yeah, I'm live
The
on
only reason I'm
Kick
here is he's
as
so
well
bad
right
as a
now, too. I just
president
figured out how to go
that I'm
live
gonna
on
make America
Instagram.
great again. We're going to make America great again.
At the
We're
same
a failing
time.
nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation, and we're a
How are
failing
you doing?
nation because of him. His policies are so bad. his military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving
God,
us
we
there.
might be.
And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have
No, they
nothing
don't.
going with this gentleman.
This is true.
And he's going to drive us into World War III.
Ooh.
World War III. Let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all, a required response. The idea, I can't think of a single major
Here we
leader
go.
in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done and what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own safety is at stake. And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will
That was a
you
terrible
accept
response.
the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me.
Okay.
But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you
Oh
asked
my
the question
God.
before, would you do this with? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad.
I'm doing good,
They've
man.
lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was,
That
will
might be
you
true.
accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But
Right.
I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But
Right.
unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
Well, let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner.
Oh,
The
here we
idea
go.
If you lose again, you accept it.
Name calling.
You can't
He was
say
actually
you
the first
lost.
one.
Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
We'll be right back with more from the CNN presidential
Oh,
debate,
God.
live from Georgia.
Let's see some. I wonder how long it's going to go for, but if it comes back, they need to fucking pop off with some real petty drama. That's what I want to see. Super petty drama. Everything else is bullshit at this point. You know? I'm going to end this video on Instagram. That was cool. I'm going to end the Facebook because Facebook fucking sucks. Instagram. Let's see. Facebook. Actually, fuck it. I don't even want to watch the rest. I gotta go to bed. I gotta wake up early. So, for the 2 people in the chat, what do y'all want from the gas station? I'll be back on here tomorrow. I'll be on Monkey. Enough of this bullshit. I had to try it out. But, kind of stupid, actually. I wish there would have been more. It seems like is how the culture's been going. There should have been more like triggered shit, you know. There should have been more drama, but there wasn't. I'll be on Monkey tomorrow on Friday, and then Saturday, I know this one rapper wants to do I told him he could do a live performance on the feed. So he's going to do that. We're going to try to do something different. I just got to be on here every day. It's just busy as hell. Like I said, I had a meeting with the mayor, and so I've been putting my whatever together. Other than that, I got to go to bed. That was fun. It was about an hour and a half of some idiots talking, including me. I'll be up there one day. So, good night. Hopefully we don't go into World War III after this. You know, Putin's watching. You know. Everyone's watching, and they're probably bored stiff with these idiots. All right.